Good morning. Welcome to the Smart Life Club. I'm Vickie Helm, and this is the Coffee Break Show. It's Monday, and I want to thank you for being here with us today. It's going to be an important day for me. I'm going to go out on a few limbs and talk about stuff that needs to be said during this time. And I'm looking forward to having this really strong week. But if you're new here, welcome to the Smart Life Club. Put your name down here. I want to get to know you and see you and like you and have a conversation with you. Every day we go live Monday through Friday, and we have conversations. We talk, we share inspiration, motivation, information. We do all things so that when we come together, we have a rising tide that lifts all boats. We create thrivability on this channel Monday through Friday. Your productivity goes up, your connections go up, your networks go up. This is living a smart life. I want to welcome you. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. And do me a favor, say hello. If you're watching this, then it's after the show and you're just watching the replay. Would you do me a favor and put hashtag replay into the bottom part down below? And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome. I have to have a little sip of coffee this morning. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you know when we go live every single day. Hey, Bernard, nice to see you. Good evening. Nana, nice to see you from Ghana already. Around the world, we go live, and this happens every single day. So today is Monday. Good morning, Ryan. Nice to see you on, buddy. I'm so glad you're here today. Today's message is the same thing. It's like, what in the world is happening? And we have some good news going on around the world. We're all kind of mostly locked down in our homes, and people are, the people are actually going to be moving together on shows and talking to each other via virtually because social distancing is in play, and some people are just on lockdown, and I expect lockdown to happen everywhere. So I want to say good morning to Donnie. Donnie, good morning, Donald. Barb, I'm here, coffee in hand. Let's roll. Thank you. MJ, nice to see you. Good morning. So I want to tell you something. I'm going to go out on a limb here today. I have a lot to say, and it surrounds some of the actions of my government. But first, I just want to give you my vanity, okay? This morning, when I took a shower and I was looking at my hair and I thought, oh, I should get my hair cut. And then I went, I can't get my hair cut. And I watched my vanity jump up and like, oh my God, 8 weeks from now, I'm going to have this bush and blah, blah, blah. And then I thought, they don't really care how you look, Vic. You just breathe through it and don't let go of that vanity. But I want you to know, I just realized that I'm not going to get my hair cut for another, several weeks. And I'm like, well, however it is however it is. So we're going to move forward with my vanity and just wear it on my sleeve like that and just say good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now, I want to talk about things I think the government could be doing, but isn't quite doing. And I'm hoping that this video gets shared out. We're at a crisis point right now where we've never been before in the history of the world. And you want to bail out companies and not people. You're looking at bailing out companies and not people. Let me tell you something. People are the things that support companies. And if we rise up and decide not to support those companies because we don't have work and we don't have income coming in, right now, I believe people should have that bailout. I think people should be bailed out right now. And so right at this moment in Amsterdam, somebody fronted me a thing that they're doing in Denmark and around those areas. And the companies are paying, the government is coming in and paying 75% of the salaries of those people who work. And they're doing that so that these companies don't have to lay off people. We're laying off people in droves, and that doesn't make sense. You create a crisis and make it worse when you're not taking care of the people, because the people are who take care of the companies. And if you do that backwards, you're going to create a deeper depression and economic instability for humanity. And I'm talking to all you government leaders. Okay, so right now I know this. I know that you're bailing out the repo market for $1.5 trillion. And that's 500 billion here, 500 billion here, and 500 billion here. And it doesn't make sense. And I get why you're doing it. You want to leave our market solvent so that credit cards are, loaded up with more debt, because that's the only way people can shop when they have no income coming in. And that is a ploy that is stupid, and it doesn't make sense to do. And so for me, when I look forward to governments, you have to take care of your people right now. They're dying in droves in some other countries. And I expect that we're going to have a lot of deaths in this country as well. But your first duty is for the people, not for the corporations. It doesn't make sense. So I want to pop over here because everybody's saying hi and good morning. I have a lot to say this morning in that area. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Coffee in hand. Great, says Donnie. I'm here, coffee in hand. Let's roll. Good morning. The Smart Life Club lives are about education, motivation, and inspiration. That's correct. Coffee. Good morning. Got my coffee. Glad you're so here. Lemon tea is in my hand. Self-isolating at my house. Prefer safe than sorry. Yes, thank you. You're gorgeous no matter what, Vickie. Thank you. You're so sweet. I love those kind of compliments. Let's see. Get yourselves a pet if you don't have one. Shelters need, hang on. Shelters need the help, and you need the love and the companionships pet can add to your life. Just saying. I want to say that that's true. I think that pets and shelters, animals are going to be super important. Don't ever give up on them. And I am adopt a pet all the way. Thank you, Barb. That is so cool. Please, if you're watching with us, share this out, said Bernard. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Safe is good, sweetheart. That's what Donnie said to Karen. Good morning, Vickie. Being savvy as usual. Thank you, Jane Goodhart. How are you? It's nice to see you, my friend. Barb says, it's so much more complex than that. We, the people, are the government. We, the people, from the companies. That's correct. And that's so important. Good morning, Martin Wales. Let me tell you, buddy, I am really looking forward to Wednesday. Martin Wales is our guest on Wednesday. We're going to have so much fun and laugh a lot. It's going to be really a great time. I'm really looking forward to that. I'll say more about that later. But right now, I want to say, sometimes somebody has to say something. I mean, we're quietly saying love and this kindness and that kindness and be compassionate. Sometimes being compassionate is calling somebody out on their bad behavior. So let me tell you something, Mr. President. $1,000 doesn't even pay rent in most places. And most people's food bills are going to go up because you know and I know that we have food shortages right now. So prices are going to increase. Prices are going to go up. And $1,000 is not going to do it. So the fact that you're going to give $700 billion in bailout to company and just go, oh, here's $1,000 for everybody who qualifies for it. And that's ridiculous. There are a lot of self-employed people right now, a lot of people who are solopreneurs out there who need that cash also. It's like the infusion of capital. I get infusing capital into business and companies, but there needs to be a bigger infusion of capital into the American people. There needs to be that bigger infusion of capital. There are small businesses right now that are having to lay off people, and they've never had to do that in their life. And they don't know what they're going to do next. They feel so sad and hurt. That small business bracket employs more people than anybody does. And I like what they're doing in foreign countries. They're like, hi, the government is going to come in and bail out these small businesses by making their payroll for them. Here's 75% of your payroll. Keep your team. We know you didn't do this. That's an excellent solution. That's an excellent solution. So people can have, okay, maybe they don't have 100% of their paycheck. They have 75% of it, but they can breathe and live on 75% of it versus none. Versus, well, we bailed out the banks and we bailed them out the repo markets again. And by the way, don't you think I don't know what it means that the banks aren't solvent when they won't lend each other money? There is a lot of people out there right now who are looking at how the repo markets are reacting. We know that this can make all of the down steps of 2001 and 2008, this could make everything look like nothing. That could make it could be worse than 1929. And we know that. We know we have to make different choices. But I think every government that is seeking to bail out its people, that's who are the ones that are going to win. Those are the ones that are going to go ahead and have a quicker recovery. Those people, because you stimulate the economy, you can't stimulate the company to stimulate the economy. You have to stimulate the people to stimulate the economy. And I think that we're looking at little bitty paychecks, throwing pennies out to people while you're throwing billions out to companies doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense now, and it's not going to make sense when it happens. There has to be a continued support of the people, like there's a continued support of the companies. So I'm going back over here. Good morning, said Martin. Okay. Barb, too true. Too many pets are being put down because few to no adoptions, no probably for months. Wow. Also, pets create calm and security for your home. Vodka in the glass, Martin says, coffee in the hand. Oh, you're cracking me up. That's good. Well, it's a special kind of coffee then. Okay, let's see. Coming into Monday, the Fed had a problem. It had already used up half of its entire emergency $700 billion QE5 announced last week. It had already used that up. Now, does that make sense, Mr. President? So I'm looking in this. It's noon where you live. Good morning. Hey, Vickie, Karen, Robin, Martin, and crew. Thank you. Nice to see you. 7 minutes after noon. Thank you. It is 7 minutes after noon. I know on the East Coast, good afternoon. Let's see. We, the people, as entrepreneurs, create the jobs. That's right. Barb, I'm really big on that, what you just said. We, the people, the entrepreneurs, we create the jobs. And I think if you're going to have people starting businesses, you'll find a lot more thriving going on. The extraordinary Martin Wales is this week's Welcome Wednesday guest. Pass the word. Yes, it's going to be fun. This is Ryan over here. He says, yes, as a small business operator, everything has been canceled, leaving me wondering where my next dollar will come from. Do you get that, Mr. President? I mean, maybe you do, but I'm looking at this, and yes, as a small business operator, everything has been canceled, leaving me wondered where my next dollar will come from. You cannot just simply bail out the worker. You cannot just simply bail out. You have to bail out the whole thing. If you're already halfway through QE5, you know, we're treading waters that we've never been in. Good morning, Sasha. Nice to see you on. It's not the president. He's the voice of the huge number of Americans. I agree with that. And we have voted to represent our voices in government. That's correct. That is very correct. Consensus reality, this is from Scott. Consensus reality is like paper money. It has no value except everyone believes in it. It has no real value, only pretend value, which is fine as long as everyone keeps pretending. Jed McKenna, you know, that is absolutely, I get the enlightenment of it all, Scott. I get it. Until you have no food. And to me, what I see is if there are hungry people around this world, they will rise up because they will become angry people. And that going ahead and getting that in place right now so that they're at least fed something, have something, can keep a roof over their heads and keep their families safe. Yes, I believe that is important right now. So I get that consensus reality is that we all agree. We all agree that this is important. It's just not really there. And I don't believe when my stomach is empty that applies. I really want to get to the point where I am speaking in full capacity, not just trying to not rock the boat. I am actually wanting to have a little bit of discernment here with me. And when I see all our money going this way and very, you know, it's not even a trickle. It's more drop down effect. And so I think this is going to be a very hard time for some people who are working. But the number one thing that's not being taken care of that employs the most people is being ignored. We take care of big corporations and we bail them out. But the most people who create the most jobs in the world aren't the big companies. They're those little small mom and pop stores. They're the biggest employers in the world, and they're getting nothing. Nothing. And I think that's more harmful than taking care of these big corporations or making sure our banks are shored up all over again. Because here's what I know. I know that we've been doing QE since the beginning of 2008, and it hasn't done anything. Even the markets have fallen. Even the markets are self-correcting. That it hasn't made much stabilize, because we're not tightening up the right screw. We're not letting the leak of all this money go out. We're not getting it to the right hands. And sometimes the right hands are we, the people. Let's see. With tonic water. Morning, Ken. Great to see you. Ryan, too true. And a small business covers the majority of companies, consultants, restaurants, stylists, lawn care, tech companies. Yes, they're being overlooked right now. Yes, people will get hangry. It's true. Ryan, you're so right. People will get hangry. Donald says, unfortunately, the lives of people have become about money and politics. Yes, unfortunately, that's true. According to Town Hall Guy's Guy Benson, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi are demanding massive collective bargaining powers for unions, more stringent fuel emission standards for airlines, and an expansion of wind and solar tax credits. Yes. And where's the bailout for the people? Where are the people involved in that? It's trickle-down effect at that point, and I don't think that's going to work for this pandemic situation. I think if we were dealing with only the economy and everybody was healthy and everybody could work and everybody could enjoy an expanding economy, then yes, I agree with that. So potential. Karen says potential lack of survival basics makes people do things they would never do under normal circumstances. Yes. What would you do to save your child? What would you do if your child was so hungry? What would you do? You would do almost anything to do with that. Anything to help them. So what have I got right here? I'm hungry now. Support the bottom of the pyramid instead of the top. If not, it will all collapse. I agree with that. Democrats hold COVID-19 bill hostage over unrelated demands. I'm like, yes, we cannot do that. We need to get this out now. And anybody holding that is going to be rough. And this is not a political stance. I want you to know right now, I am neither a Democrat nor a Republican. I think both parties are absolutely corrupt. I think they both have their own agenda, and we're not included in that. I'm very much an independent. I do not play games of the parties. I want to be discerning. And I'm like, I will vote for the best candidate. That's what I vote for. And I reserve the right to not be like a football team. I belong to the Patriots and I belong to the Steelers. I don't want to be like that. I'm like, this is livelihood. This is my country. This is my duty to have some sort of discernment in here. And when you get into I'm a this and I'm a that, you can be just inundated with propaganda. When you're in the middle of it and you can look at all the propaganda and use your own discernment to make those best judgments. Big companies pay the politicians. That's true. Big companies do pay politicians. And so this should be about the people and nothing else. Donald says this should be about the people and nothing else. I agree with that. This should be about the people and nothing else. Hey, Suzanne, nice to see you. It takes more than just a president to come together and work for the greater good. I agree with that. I agree with that so much. Do you understand what Suzanne just said? I haven't even gotten through the first sentence. It takes more than a president to come together and work for the greater good of the people. The blame game of one political official isn't going to work in this reality. There are many who need to drop the hate and their agendas to make the situations get better. Yes, I agree with that. I'm speaking in reference to every political person, not just one side. I agree with that, Suzanne. I think that is the whole point. I think we're so busy picking sides that we need to stop picking sides and just, can you put your political view in neutral right now and not say, well, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans. And it is also, there are people within that organization that are holding bills up, that are creating agendas because they're either this or that. They wouldn't even be in office sometimes. If we all got to the point where we were independent, some of the people in office would not be in office. Let's see, I'm speaking in reference to every political person, not just one side. It's time to rise above, work together, and show the people that they do care about everyone. Yes, every political person. And let me tell you, as long as we have Democrats in this, we have this grudge match going on. There's no working together. There's no leaning across the aisle. There's like this, just beating everybody up. Trickle down never worked. I agree with that, Ryan. Trickle down has never worked. Now, I want to say something about that because I also believe that small business people are the hardest working people in the world. I want to say that really clearly. They are very hardworking people. They're not the people who are victims. They're very self-responsible people. They take the time to add a business to a community, to enhance that community. They go ahead and when they're stopped, all of these things that you can't do, like get a meal unless it's to go, have a place to go to take your family to have fun, get your hair done. Like, oh my gosh, you have no idea. Right now, I really wish I could go get it clipped a little bit and get it shaped. Those things that you have that make your life fun, convenient, that little local ice cream store that you go to, that you take your family, where your daughter is going to have a memory of daddy or mommy taking them out for ice cream. That little moment, that little memory, that's all small business. And small business creates the ambiance of a community. I want you hear that again. Small business creates the ambiance of a community. It's the place where you go, that little donut shop or bakery that's owned by your friends. Okay. Somehow, I don't know what happened, but I just got blinked out here. It looks like I'm still from that. But right now, I see that my picture is gone and now it's just my face. So hang in there with me while I go fix this and figure out what came on. Let's start the cam here again. Hey, do you see how that went? Now it's shifted. The camera up top is not working. I'm now working down with this camera down below, but I'm going to just keep going and we're going to keep going like this. We have a switch in picture. That is going to be okay. So I want to say, Suzanne, thank you for that point. I really appreciate that. Unfortunately, too true. Most of us have been taking the basics for granted. Yes. We take the basics of the family that gets up every single day, that family that goes ahead and does more than one thing. And let me tell you, a small business is the contribution communities make to their community. That small business, that is the contribution they make for that. And contributing to that is so important to have that kind of contribution. Let's see, Robin says, well, how you do anything is how you do everything, applies to the individual as well as the government process. But I will tell you, small business is being left out of the equation right now. And I think whether it's whoever you're talking to, whatever you believe, that small business is the key to keeping our lives from going completely down. Small business, paying attention to that, that's the most important economic indicator that needs to be taken care of. The solopreneur, the small shopkeeper, the service repair guy, all of those things, those are the things that need to be taken care of right now so that we can start to go ahead and rebuild, because they hire more people than those big companies. Agreed, Barb. Too many people unknowingly, oh my, you guys are really here with me today. Too many people unknowingly or without education vote for candidates with agendas that don't reflect their personal values. That's right. Thank you very much. That is true. That was from Karen. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you. Yes, I do just about anything to save my hungry child. It's so ridiculous that they would even consider a corporate bailout right now in favor of helping out individual Americans and small business owners who keep this country going. And let me tell you something. I would support any bailout to the tune of 700 billion if it went to small business, if it went to the American shop owner, the people who keep America alive, the people who keep communities thriving, the people who take care of that local community. I would say that that bailout for me, that would make sense. And I think that if the federal government started paying 75% of the payroll of every business owner or business person that has employees, that they would absolutely be able to recover faster than doing a bailout of the same QE5, QE this, QE that. There's not a lot of support for that. Thank you. Robin, in America, we take so much for granted. We certainly do. Lori, I agree with you. I do most anything to feed my family. I have to look, this camera up here is what I usually use. And right now I'm using this camera down here, and I'm not used to looking down at the camera like that. So we're going to keep going on. Will become even more obvious the longer we are isolated and socially distracted. Yes. Small business are always the number one to be hit first, any economic travesty. Yes. That's really true, Suzanne. I want to talk about that. Small businesses are always the one to be hit first. So why isn't there support for them? And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make these loans available to the small business people. There's so much red tape to get to that loan. There should be right away a bailout for small businesses around the country, everywhere. Every bailout. Keep our restaurants open. Keep our businesses and things open where we recreate, where we communicate. Keep our coffee shops open. Keep those businesses running. Those are important aspects in them. And you getting them here, well, they can apply for a loan while you're bailing out someone else. We need to be able to get to them fast. And we need to be able to give them something, give them support. Not, here's more debt. Here's more debt for you. Give them support. Come in and take care of that 75% of their payroll right now. And that solopreneur, the same thing. That solopreneur, they need bailout as well. That to me is where the recovery of this country will be if it all starts coming down. The ridiculous pork that they're selfishly trying to add to this bill is sabotaging Americans. I have to know more about that. That was from Karen. Robin says, that's exactly how everyone feels. I'll do anything. Yes, you are here. Just pick. You are back. Thank you. The solopreneur shopkeeper, they need to help. Yes. The solopreneur and the shopkeeper, they need to help. They need to stop trying to drown them out. And to me, it looks like we're at war. It's like every time you go after the small businesses and try to slaughter them, we have to stop that. I do not agree with that. I refuse to sign up for an SBA loan right now because I do not need another expense. For the political folks, don't help us small business owners. Yes. You don't need another piece of debt in your house hanging over so you can run your businesses that help people in America, that employ people in America. You need to just come in and really bail them out. That's my point today. It's like, if you want to recover, if you truly want to recover from this collapse right here, those big companies that you're giving bailouts to, most of them run on AI and robotics, and their factories and their machines, they have skeleton crews. Those people that are working, that employ real people, they're mostly in small business. And we need to take care of that junket right now. Let's see. When isolation, okay. Small business doesn't respond by giving golden parachutes to CEOs. They reinvest in the company, hire people, and offer more services. That was from Robin, and I agree with that. Suzanne says, yes, the pork is messed up. Not sure what that is. I got to learn about that. When isolation and social distancing ends, most small businesses will not reopen. And that's the sad part right now. That's the actual sad part. And I'm making this statement right now. I think we are not taking care of the primary artery of America's economic situation. The primary artery is being cut and nobody is sewing that one up. They're just letting it bleed out. And we know you're doing it. So if you could stop and handle small business right now, things would be better. Today is Monday. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? We have some good news and we have some news that needs to be said. Somebody needs to be out there and say something. We know you're killing our small businesses. We know you're doing that and it needs to stop. And if you're going to bail them out, you need to bail out small business and not by giving them more debt. Here's a loan. No. Go ahead and, if you just paid for their employees, you'd be amazed how that would turn things around. Small business doesn't respond by giving golden parachutes to CEOs. Totally agree with that. It doesn't work. Don Givert says they believe in Puerto Rico, 80 to 90% of the small businesses will no longer exist after the hurricane, earthquakes, and now the COVID-19. They cannot handle it anymore. They are micro model of our macro. What happens there will happen here. Do you understand that? Do you understand the quality of what Donald just said? What's happening there is going to happen here right now. They believe in Puerto Rico, 80 to 90% of the small businesses will no longer exist. After the hurricane, earthquakes, and now the COVID-19, they cannot handle it anymore. They are the micro model of our macro. What happens there will happen here. And I want to say something so important about that. Small business right now, with as many people as it employs, these are not people who are victims. They don't want handouts from the government. They never have. These are loyal, strong Americans. Loyal, strong people who go ahead and put these businesses up any place. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. When you're a small business owner, you are being responsible. You are taking care of your own. You're adding value to the community. You're adding systems that help a community thrive. It's full stop. There's nothing more that needs to be said there. It's not people who are freeloading that you're bailing out. These are not lazy people. These are patriots out there who are using what the United States gave us, which is the ability to create opportunity for ourselves. And when you're squelching that and bailing out these big corporations that don't even pay them as much taxes, your tax revenue that comes from small business, that's bigger than what comes from, some of them are so big they don't pay taxes anywhere. And to me, that's a travesty right now. And we need to bail out everyone that's going to help the system revive itself. And that especially a small business. Legislative pork is adding agenda-driven and unrelated things added to a bill. That is why some officials will not vote for the bill. Oh, that's terrible. I can't believe they're making that happen that way. Suzanne says, my biggest fear, ? An economic ongoing crash for years. Yes, it will create hard environments to live in. You know, Suzanne, that is exactly correct. That's the thing I want to stop right now. We do not have to have that happen. That does not have to be an outcome of what happens right now. And if they bail out everybody correctly, then your biggest fear may not happen. An economic ongoing crash for years, and it will create a hard environment to live in. We keep trying to build wealth using debt. We can't do that. If you're going to bail out anybody, bail out small business and watch them work. Watch them turn this around. Watch them make a difference in the world. They're great people. Hey, Ryan, I want to see equal justice under the law. Yes, the decision makers affecting us all are rarely held accountable. Yes. Yes, that's so true. I mean, if you guys haven't watched The Big Short yet, go watch it. You'll see. Unfortunate but true, said Robin. Scott says, as a Chinese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree is always 20 years ago. You got that right. That is it. And the second best time is always now. We must apply that lesson to wherever we are in terms of agriculture. I agree with that. Since we do not do it before, let us do it now. Better today than tomorrow. I want to talk about that. If you start any kind of business right now, an agricultural business, whether it's micro business or huge farming, that is going to be the most important. And if you've never learned to garden right now, you need to learn to garden and start your own garden. Scott, I think that's one of the most empowering things people can do during this time to help themselves, to really help themselves. A person who can feed themselves has got an advantage over everything. A person who can feed themselves, and that's gardening. If you fish, you fish. You want to get those things in place right now. That is, thank you for that. I love this, said Robin. Thank you. My prayer. Thank you, Suzanne. We're going to talk about the prayer here, and I'm going to end with this prayer. God, please prove my biggest fear wrong. I have faith in my Creator. And I'm going to end that today. I want you to please take a moment to share the show out. And I want to thank you for participating with all of your comments and all of your insights, because right now the world needs to hear that conversation. We're talking so much about the virus itself. We're not looking at the aftermath of the virus or what's going to happen because of the virus. And I really believe, thank you, Suzanne says, ordered my seeds. I really believe that the future is going to be about the small business people. The people who survive this are going to be the action takers, the people who will work through any kind of problem. Somebody with what I call the farmer's mindset. The farmer's mindset is, how do I make this work for what's here now? Don't stop believing. Don't stop doing. Right now, you have actions that you can take. You can plant your garden, decide another business that you can start from home. Decide right now to get something going. If you have a farm, you're the luckiest person in the world. If you have chickens and you have eggs and you have growing garden food and you have all of that, you want to do that right now. That will shore you up for quite a long time, where other people are going to have a really hard time with it. Scott, thank you for sharing this proverb. It's so appropriate for this time. I want to say thank you for being on the Smart Life Club. Tomorrow, same time, same bat channel, same here. Remember, no matter what happens, you keep your chin up. Mwah. Peace out. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I want to say something just this last minute. Thanks for hanging on. Donnie came on and he's saying something really good here. He said, where do we go from here? ? Victory gardens, family farms, live and eat locally. Puerto Ricans are being told to garden right now. 30% of their GDP was agriculture today. It is 1%. They will starve if shipping does not pick up again, and they must become farmers again to thrive. We can do that the same. Yes, remember, there's a part of you that if you can grow a garden, you will successfully help yourself. All right, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. I love you all so much. Thank you.